Hi, my name is Drew Dracy. I've been an comics industry professional for 30 years, dear God. And I still love doing it. I do some little of this, little of that. You know, if you Google my name, I'm like all over DC. I've done some cool Marvel stuff and a lot of indie stuff too. Cross-gen, you name it all. So anyway, but before I was a big deal comic book creator, big deal, I was a fanboy, and I will remain a fanboy to my dang days. Anyway, we're going to start with Huntress. First appearance. This is a facsimile edition. I love that DC and Marvel are doing these things, because this copy here, the first appearance of the Huntress, is pretty pricey. Pretty pricey. And it's got a great story, too. This is when... it's a thicker book, and this is when DC was trying to do 100-page or 80-page stories, just to give you more for your money, and because it was the recession at the time. Hang on a second. Let me zoom in on here. A little bit of everything. You gotta have Green Arrow. He's by O'Neill and Mike Grell. Mike Grell. He was already doing like Warlord at the same time, I believe. And it's so interesting that when he took over Green Arrow, he kind of kept that Neil Adams feel to it, you know, in a lot of ways. And so he's perfect for the gig. And it retells his origin, because it's Origins of Superheroes. Here's what I was talking, Dollar Comics, where they throw a lot of extra characters in there. Like, you would have Steve Ditko doing the Demon. You would have just all these really cool characters. There we go. So sweet. Now we go to Legion of Superheroes, which is by Jack C. Harris, an excellent writer. Juan Ortiz, who is an excellent penciler. Bob Smith's great. Never heard of this person, but I'm sure Liz is excellent, because I'm liking what I see in anyway. The paper is wider than your standard newspaper, too. Pulp paper. Okay. There's all those cartoons. Yeah, it's still going on. And then we see the origin of the Huntress and the design of the cover. Joe Staton drew it, and he co-created with Bob Layton and Paul Levitz. They share credit for this character, who is on Earth 2, where she's the daughter of Batman, and she just gets this great costume. That is Catwoman on an earlier guise. So, Selina Wayne, who was married to Batman. In other words, Catwoman and Batman got married. Great stuff, but I'm not going to reveal the end. Really good. And she's been changed around a few times. She's now like she's almost like a mafia princess in a sense that's disappeared, but she knows like where the bodies are buried and shit like that. So, good character. Great character. Going into Don Simpson, the guy who treated us to Megaton Man. Megaton Man for president. Woo! 96. Bizarre Heroes. He did, after he done some work for Image, Don Simpson started publishing his own books. And this one really grabbed me, The Slick. At the time, Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson were married. And so this sort of goes back to when Spider-Man was young. It's very much a Spider-Man inspired, but it's his own, Don has a gift that he can emulate some previous characters, but still make them different enough that they're his own. I mean, it's not a goof on Spider-Man. It's a straight told story with, daily horse shit you got to put up with sometimes. Yo, Slick, what's up? Says a guy in the Goofy. That's what I'll call myself. Gives you a little background there. That's issue 15. Okay, so it's not really the first issue of Slick. Well, anyway, Don did a lot of these books. They're really good. So, and look at all that detail. What I really love, Look at that background. It's got like a Mobius meets Robert Crumb feel to me. You know, I mean, I don't know if Don would agree or not, but he's an art professor, so he would know better than I do. The Slick meets his old mentor, who is old and bitter, and I saw it practiced by wall climbing techniques in the course of fighting crooks. There's an awful lot of crime going on, and he goes, what is it? What does it look like I do? And I'm practicing the finer points of my craft, which is what you should be doing, young man, if you truly cared about your profession. So he's just got this weird thing. It's important to concentrate on pure mechanics every once in a while. So he's like this bitter asshole. And heroism is about craft. And, when I was a kid, I wanted superheroics. And then I realized taking pride in that fact, it's just so weird. Let the others grab the glory. I've got to live with myself, a tradition to uphold. Maybe I'll never save the world a 10th or become the 10th as famous as punks, but I have to keep the faith. He's just really gone. He was a superhero before. He was Ketchup Man with the Heinz logo. Ketchup is Heinz is based in Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh boy like me, and he just got bitter because a bunch of other superheroes out there. I mean, he was just doing odd jobs. He passed out drunk. All he had to do was hold a job selling plastic bags and backing boards for comics. And then he got all jazzed up, and the Slick is telling him his story, and it's really fun. But the guy's just old and bitter. He's like, the main thing is to keep your keep your independence, to keep your fragile male lighthouse out of the female void. You don't like women, do you? Because I wouldn't say that. I've merely taken my personal horrendous experience with romance and extra bladed it with certain universal truths that I lay blame on everyone but me. But I don't hate. He's such a jagoff. Look at that establishing shot. Hoofa. And talks about his origin. And that's his dad. Doesn't approve of him trying to be a superhero. There's a lot of superheroes, and they have bad endings to them. An alien comes along. It's very involved, but when you read it, it's Jackbox. Shucks, my slick sensors tend to shut down whenever I have an origin flashback. I love those meta moments that he does, and the art is just so fantastic. I love that cartooning. I feel like I've said this about other artists that I really admire, that if they were around in like the 50s doing newspaper strips and shit like that, I mean, they'd be making a fortune, but people want grit and or gritty. Anyway, something a little lighter, sort of. My first issue of Nexus. Okay, the first six issues of Nexus was published by Capital Comics. I've discussed in the past how Capital didn't last very long. They were a distributor of comics when there were tons of distributors to choose from before Diamond. And so PC Comics, Capital Comics was based on, Capital was the name of the distributor. And they told Mike Baron, they said, look, we want two things. We like your writing. We want superheroes. So what Mike did is he flipped it on his head. He didn't really want to do straight out superheroes. So he did Nexus, who is a costumed assassin of mass murderers, like throughout the galaxy. And the Badger, he's just plain crazy. And this is Judas Maccabee, the Thune. And the three of them go on this adventure. And time had passed between Capital and First, so they help get you back. Beautiful stuff. Steve Rude, and he's using a combination of things. I think it's like dry brush, and it's hard to say, but somehow, the Badger hangs around with a sorcerer, with a druid, and they had a tiff. So the druid sent him away. He didn't know where he was going. And this is my first experience. I had seen those earlier issues, but I just wasn't sure. And then when this came along, I really... Look how Rude does like the... that's supposed to be like... whiskers and shit. But it's different. It's not bad. It's different. So it kind of fills you out, What are you, some kind of nut? I am not crazy. Don't even say that. I'll kill you. No, of course not. It was just a figure of speech. So I see the guy who runs the bowl-shaped world. And there's so many Marvels to see. And I don't mean Marvel Comics. It's just so much. It really drew me in. And I didn't, this price point, I was, like most comic collectors are cheap. I mean, I'm not talking about the big players who get like the $1,000 comics and so on. But, most of us, Mark Evanier said that one time in a Comics Buyer Guide article, and he's right. But you know what? I liked this so much that I kept buying it. It was just so new and so fresh. And Baron's dialogue was really fresh. It was, I can't quite describe it. He didn't fall into a trap of especially like Marvel in the mid 70s. A lot of those guys also worked in DC. They used a ton of cliches, like the word proverbial, and they would say, I'm from Missouri, show me. And there was like so many cliches, and they were so busy, and there were writers and artists that had to get the book out, that they just would kind of rewrite those same cliches over and over. And Badger, put those weapons down. No weapon helmets down. No way, Larry. The Badger maims, but he doesn't kill. Pestilent psychopath. Nexus, take a fight computer. You call me crazy, I'm gonna kill you. Out of the way. Would you like a cookie? Kind. I reviewed this before. Excellent miniseries, and I found myself buying more and more first comics. There was Mike Grell's. I'm blanking here. John Sable Freelance, and it was Howard Chaykin's American Flag. They just had a real killer lineup. I love that, going through the water. Oh yeah, there you go. Grimjack. And that woman is from, I think it's a play that is, I can't think of what the name of it. I'm sorry. But so much going on. And let me inform you of something. Mike Baron had written 100 issues of Nexus. Steve Rude, he came along. He did up to issue 62, I think, and then he left for a while to do stuff for DC and other projects like Mr. Miracles, and then he did a 3-part World's Finest miniseries with Batman and Superman. And after he left, though, they had a lot of up-and-coming artists who weren't maybe as accomplished or riveting, but they could tell story. And from the first issue of Nexus, there's such world building, literally, because Horatio Hellpop, who is the name of Nexus, he finds a place, an uninhabited planet, and he decides he's going to have people come over, and he calls it Ilum, and more people join, and then there's just these they have these warring factions between different planets and stuff, and the cast grows and grows. It's just stunning. But anyway, right now, as I speak, there are 2 Nexus books that are on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I can't remember which one, but one of them is written by Mike Baron and done by Kelsey Shannon, who's just astonishing. And Steve Rude's doing his own too. They both co-own Nexus, so it's sort of like they have a agreement, and for whatever reason. But let me tell you something. Nexus has such a pedigree that the rest of the industry took notice of, because the fill-in issues before Rude's last issue were like by Paul Smith, like right off the X-Men. It was Paul Smith. There was an early Adam Hughes, and he was really starting off strong. They had Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. They had Butch Geis, and just so many great fill-in artists that you never felt the quality dropped. And the original book lasted till 80 issues, and then an amazing thing happened. Dark Horse picked up the book, first went under, and they did something that is unprecedented in comics. Well, maybe the second most precedent. Dark Horse bought the rights to Nexus and gave it to Baron and Rude. Gave it to him. No strings attached. Now, the only other time that I can recall is when DC Comics, when they were reprinting Jack Kirby's New Gods, they gave him the rights to the New Gods, even though he'd done it a decade ago. So those are just amazing stories. But yeah, check out the Nexus. Like I said, both the writer has his own book and the artist has his own book, and they don't stray very far from them. There's a very strong sense of they both know what they're doing, I guess is what I'm saying. Oh, this is great. Doom, number 3 of 3, with art by Leonardo Manco, who's just friggin', he was red hot for a while. He did a Deathlock miniseries, and he did some other stuff, but I don't know where he went, but I mean, his stuff was just stunning. This is a 3-issue miniseries where Dr. Doom is not on Earth. He's basically armorless. He battles for survival and to rebuild his empire on Doom World, which is similar to Counter Earth. And Dixon really makes him nasty. And Leonardo Manco, and he's nasty in a nobleman way, if you could say that. He's that's a weird thing, but you know what I'm saying. Well, Dr. Doom, he's like that. But Leonardo Manco, God, he is so good with the splats and the halftones. And right now, Bera, who is Submariner's enemy, is trying to take over the world because 80% of the world underwater just wasn't enough. There's Bera. He's got the original, the eyes that are black, which is always a good look. So just look at that stuff. It's nuts. And then he uses his ship. It's all out of weapons now. He uses that as a weapon, and he ejects. Look at all that. It's really great. It's collected in a trade paperback, which I couldn't find at the moment. I just love that. And it's great because Dixon and Manco are in concert to really make the story riveting, or make it the stakes are high. Some badass shit. So, and I'm not going to tell you any more of that because you gotta buy your own copy. Okay, now final one, saving the best for last, sorta maybe. What if Dr. Doom? Come on, zoom, baby, zoom. Oh, goodness me, I'm sorry. What if Dr. Doom had become the Thing? Now, as absurd as it sounds on the faces of it, it's a perfect book. And Carl Kiesel wrote it. Paul Smith penciled and inked it. It's one of the best ones. And I know Marvel has been doing reprints. They're doing their second omnibus of the second series of What If. And I got the first omnibus, and I loved it. It had top flight talent. And later on, the whole series lasted 101 issues. I would love it if they went on and did some of these specials and one-shots and, go to... so there we go. Carl Kiesel, he filled in on a couple of Fantastic Four issues because I don't know, DC was screwing with Mark Waid and Mike Waringo. They kind of took him off, then they put him back on. But in the meantime, Carl was available, and I love his writing, no matter what. Paul Mount's coloring, so you got a little bit of everything here. Really, really great stuff. And the coloring is great because you can see everything. So we're at the college. There's Ben Grimm, the jock. He's trying to get Reed Richards to check out with some, make a play for the ladies. And I love that guy right there on the right. He's just a regular guy. It's like Paul Smith was sort of doing this real natural stuff before other artists would, just different shapes, different, nationalities and such. That's good stuff. Elektra. Never saw it. Don't give a crap. So he goes, I'd be too busy analyzing the incoming data. You'd have to drive. She don't drive a spaceship, Reed. You pilot it. Everybody knows. So they talk about it, and then Dr. Doom comes back with an apology because he got really pissed off that Reed Richards found mistakes. He says, I wasn't stealing them. They were laying on their desk, and it's easy to see the miscalculation in your third differential. You should readjust your primary threshold, blah, blah, blah. And he's all pissed off. But then he becomes friends with Reed in an honest friendship. Like, he's like, okay, together we could do some amazing stuff. And gosh, the shading and everything. I mean, he's doing like the zipatone effect, and that's hard to do when you're doing elaborate color, because you can get a moire pattern, which is where you would get like this really weird, like orderly pattern of it. It's almost like plaid. But I love that too. The color of her walking away, the stance, the hair. So, tack, 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 tack. Here comes the cosmic rays, and that SOB Doom didn't cover anybody except himself. He has a mask on that it kind of grows on him. I guess it's sort of like a nanotech thing. Well, I fully expect you three to die, which is as it should be. I've already dredged the most useful ideas from Richards, mind you, and so I'll finish the research and bask in glory alone. And after valiantly, but in the end, vainly, I'm afraid, attempting to return my dying companions to Earth for medical attention. A sad story, but do not dwell on it. Try to enjoy what little time you have left. Great sound effect there. And, they discovered their powers. I love Reed's arm twisting. And there's Dr. Doom. He's trying to get his armor off. And then he says, not taking any blame, look what you've done to me, Richards. Look what you've done. So he became the Thing instead of Ben Grimm. And he's taking Reed away. Meanwhile, at the military test site restricted area, let's see, Sergeant Grimm, he stopped that young troublemaker. What was his name? Rick Jones, sir, which was from Hulk #1, where Bruce Banner saved Rick Jones. Let's get the show on the road, Banner. Okay, starting camera bombardment, reactor online. Another great shaded face right there on the profile. What the hell? Another crazy kid? It's not. Blood and thunder. There's a man out there. There's Thunderbolt Ross. Not for long. So Ben does what he does best. He plays the hero. He drives out there. He goes, deck and cover. It's your only chance. That's an order. He's telling Ben that, Sergeant Grimm, and he sees Reed all falling apart. Throws him into the ditch. The gamma bomb goes off, and he doesn't know what's going on, and he goes, I wouldn't worry about him if I were you. And he's just crazy, but Sergeant Grimm got that gamma blast. Reed little, Doom big. Grimm hate Doom. Grimm clobber Doom. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Doom think he'd get away so easy? Ha. And what I love is he's taking a hint from like Steve Rude's Shape of the Hulk. It also goes back to the early Kirby issues as well. They're just having it out. Thing is, this lettering is awful because it's hard to read. It's like there. See how tight that is? He's a little kerning. Maybe Doom not as smart like he thinks. Maybe the madder Grimm gets, the stronger Grimm gets. Oh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. So he's like out of control. He's like trying to get everybody. And Invisible Girl's force field shows up early because she says you must have generated it. Well, amazing what you do with your life depends on it. But yeah, he's got that weird Kirby, kind of musculature that also Rude had tapped into. And Hulk's just hating everybody. He's like, I'm still your friend, Ben. I hope you're mine. Friend. Yes. Come on. Focus. Grim, remember you now, Skinny. Friend. Come on, focus. Focus. It's a very touching moment, and you won't focus for me. Come on. Okay. I'll find a cure for you. He goes, you don't got to do that, Reed. I'm sure you got better things to do than be dragged down by me. Not dragging down, Ben. Grounded. You remind me of what's real and real important. That's something I forgot for a while, and something I'll never be able to fully pay back. So Doom takes off that Paul Smith hair he does. Oof. That sounds fantastic. Me too, Susie. Me for. Well, I guess that settles it for now. The Fantastic Four. How about that? That's a perfect comic to wrap up on. And I hope you dug these. And I like sharing them. And that's it, everybody. Oh. I'm always forgetting to promote myself. Okay, that's a sketch cover that I did a while back, pencil and ink. This is a cover recreation I did, 11 by 17. Really, really fun. This was a smaller piece with Stingray and the Shroud. It's so much fun. I penciled and inked it. I penciled and inked that too. Going for the Art Adams effect there. And on the armor, I was studying Barry Windsor Smith to the best of my ability. But if you want to reach me for a commission, Drew Geraci Comics at gmail.com. Another piece I penciled and inked. Another recreation, Doctor Strange. And that's it over Sheldon Go, who is, I think he's in the Philippines, but his stuff's amazing. It was 11 by 17 originally. And Drew Geraci Comics at gmail.com. And I hope you find something interesting, to come up with. I've done so many wacky commissions, cool. And my favorite one I did was, I think it was who was the worm from Captain Marvel? He was combined with some other crazy Marvel character, and can't think of it. That's okay. But anyway, enjoy your day. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will catch you later.